Recording has started. Hello and welcome, friends, once again to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, your happy little cloud himself, Charlie the Professor Esser. And with me, as always, the man who has the knowledge, the man who has the wisdom and foresight. I'm talking about none other than the master of all things comic books.
Who, me?
Fill me in. Perich.
Not me.
Yeah, you, man. You know so much about comics. You know the deep lore. You know the old... You are like Aslan. Do not quote the old law to me. I was there when the book was written. Says Phil, fill me in, Perich. No, because you had to help me out today. Because I was all conflubulated about the reveal in this week's Amazing Spider-Man. Jumping right into comics. We're going to weave in and out of these stuff because, you got it. But I got to give props to Philip. Because I foolishly was under the impression that Albert Malik killed Peter Parker's parents. But I was wrong. Peter Parker's parents. But I was wrong, wasn't I, Philip?
Yes. Well, Malik, the second Red Skull. Yeah, no, he only ordered their killing. Yes, it was the finisher.
Mm-hmm. The finisher.
Sounds like a
which is about as grand of a supervillain name as the Foreigner. Who both of whom are in this issue.
I mean, in his defense, I think Stanley wrote that one. Yeah, it was Amazing Spider-Man Annual 5, and he was supposed to be like a one-and-done character. So, the finisher, he kills people.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's like, Stanley was having an off day that week. Which is weird. It's like, why not just call him Fred? It's like, he's Fred. He kills people. Fred, kill people. I'm Fred. Who was that guy from Beetlejuice? No, he wasn't from Beetlejuice. He was from Bill and Mandy. I got all my goth cartoons mixed up. But yeah, voiced by Bobcat Goldthwait. He had a trunk. He was delightful. But yeah, so... But no, it was interesting because, so I don't know who this Teresa Parker is, except for a hot Peter Parker, I guess is the idea. It's like, hey, you want to shtup Peter Parker, but you want to say you're straight? Let us introduce you to Teresa May Parker.
Like I said, there was I didn't even read the graphic novel. I think it's Spider-Man Family Business, where, they introduced this Teresa, supposedly. I don't think they came out and said it, but you're supposed to take it as like, oh, hey, this could be Peter's biological sister. And then, was it Chip Zdarsky, I think, was writing some Spectacular Spider-Man, and he was like, he had her in there. They were kind of working together, so.
Okay, well, I just...
But now I think they're cleaning up more messes.
Honestly, that is the problem with the whole Spider-Man lore. It's all, which is like one of these things. I'm like wondering, okay, like at the end of Heroes Reborn, are we just going to wake up and it's like, no, Pete and everyone knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man. What are you talking about? And yeah, no, he's married to MJ. They live over on the East Side. What are you talking about? It's like all this nonsense. No, we're just undoing it. It's like, no, everything happened. But yeah, everyone knows who Peter Parker is. It's fine. He's just a public superhero.
Mephisto didn't wipe the world's memories. No, it was Chameleon. He stole the Purple Man's machine and just pulled him out, Murdoch. And
no, I don't. I get the feeling we're coming to this thing where they're going to do a big reset of the nonsense caused by Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It just seems like I don't know what they're doing right now. But the fact of the matter is, it just seems like I don't know if Aunt May is going to be shown to have been Mephisto all along. Because we get our little Otto bit at the end of that, too. Oh, and we see that, Mephisto didn't lie. He put him back just as he was and stole all of his memories. Because, that's why you don't make a deal with the freaking devil, Otto. Doom would have known that, Otto. That's the thing. That's why Doom is a petty dabbler, because he's never willing to make the sacrifice. But that's because he knows you're always the junior partner in that. And he doesn't want to be a junior partner. But, Otto, he doesn't know magic. But he got involved with magic, which he should not have done. That's the thing. You don't get involved with magic if you don't know magic. You gotta go entreat other people. Gotta reach out to people who know what the heck they're doing.
Or was it Mephisto?
Oh, you think that...
I'm thinking somebody's running a play on everybody. Peter Parker, Otto, everybody.
Oh...
Hey, nobody got time.
Are you coming around to my idea of... oh, God.
I don't know if it was him, but somebody.
Yeah, the guy from Evil That Men Do. It's like... just somebody who is manipulated. And again, that's where it gets interesting. Like, I'm sorry, I can't connect to it right now. I'm trying to remember the guy's name, but it was like Emery Schwab. It was a very non-plus name. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Spider-Man, Black Cat, Evil That Men Do. The kid who could transport drugs right into your system directly.
We're not cleaning this up with no Kevin Smith script.
No, man. Hey, you can say what you will about Kevin Smith.
Oh, I will.
The guy comes up with brilliant ideas. He takes too long to finish, like a lot of artists do, because he smokes the marijuana. And I'm sorry, that's why you don't get things done, because you smoke the marijuana. I drink the beer, and that's why I don't get things done. But somehow it seems worse with the marijuana. Because I can actually go... I actually, have it... Marijuana is not supposed to be addictive. You should be able to continue on in your life and just, I'm just not going to smoke today. I'm going to write. But no, you choose to smoke. It's, even worse that way.
Yeah.
That's just actively being slothful. At least I have a chemical dependency for my alcoholism. That's all I'm saying.
But I mean...
Science says I'm lazy.
But just in this Amazing Spider-Man issue, I mean... I don't think you even get everything they dropped in here. Because, Teresa, it's like, the chameleon's like, oh, hey, remember when the 90s when I made up some fake robot parents for Peter Parker? Got a little thing in the back of your head saying, maybe things aren't what they see. So I don't know if they're cleaning up her with making her a robot.
By the way, am I supposed to take from that the Vulture made the robots?
No, the Vulture was just there.
Okay, but he got someone to make his... Oh, man. Are they going to, tie in some kind of weird Darkhold LMD nonsense into this?
I don't know. Well, it was Harry Osborn's plan, although Harry Osborn was supposedly dead at the time. But, he hired a chameleon to do this. He built some robots, and for months, Peter thought it was his parents. And then, this was in the 90s, I don't know if you remember, the Vulture was like... That was the storyline when they revealed the parents were robots, that the Vulture got this Juvenator device where he could suck the life force out of people and make himself young for periods of time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that's what that was. Yeah.
I remember that gag. That's a silly gag.
Yeah, because they used that in the animated series too. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess when you're reaching, you go to the old standbys and face swaps and youth suckers. That's a thing.
And then the other big thing, you were talking about the finisher, but Betty Brand's pregnant, and I guess she got pregnant by the Ned Leeds clone after Clone Conspiracy. Remember that?
But now there's another one.
Well, now supposedly this is original Ned. Oh, maybe he's kindred.
Why do we say that's original Ned?
Well, I don't know. I thought that's how.
That's the thing. It's no. How do we know that's just not an LMD?
I was saying maybe it's original because maybe he's kindred.
Oh, he's just been let out of heck,
Yeah, because,
Which makes me wonder, is Kindred... are we supposed to think that this... Are they, trying to make Blackthorn a thing?
It just hit me. You know who killed Ned Leeds, right? Well, just like the Red Skull killed... Well, Hobgoblin was a cat... Well, Jason Macendale was a coward and hired the Foreigner and his men to kill Ned Leeds.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Because he thought he was the original Hobgoblin, but no, that was Roderick Kingsley just brainwashed Ned Leeds into being
because that was his shtick. Yeah. Man, the Hobgoblin.
So that's what I'm saying. If this is Ned Leeds out of heck, I mean, he's got scores to settle with people, so.
Yeah, I mean, and we see that, the foreigner is all mad at his wife the Silver Sable is mad at her husband, the foreigner, because he's a classic gigolo. He's like taken from the till. This is like a Columbo episode.
Unless they remarried, I think they were exes for a while. So,
well, they seem to be together. Yeah. They seem to be working together again because she was sick, and I'm glad they addressed it. It's like, yeah, it's so nice to see you. It's like, which is also like, what? Because like you were like all crippled. You were like freaking Christopher Pike the last time we saw you. What exactly happened here? Beep. That's a callback to the last episode of Capes and Lunatics. Tune in, right, kids. 2 beeps for no, 1 beep for yes, or vice versa. I forget which it is, but anyway. Yeah, so this is like a Columbo episode now, and apparently, the no account husband of the rich lady is like, I've been investing. I haven't been spending the money. I've been investing. We bought a casino because those never go bankrupt, right? And again, it's just a weird thing with super science in this universe. It's like, but the clairvoyant device, if we get the proper energy source for it, it'll predict the future. And it's like, really though? Would it though? Have we like done this storyline like 6 times? Where, I mean, it's going to predict the most likely future, but that's called gambling. That's literally called gambling. The most likely outcome is it's not going to land on the thing you put it on.
It's an Egg McGuffin.
It is an Egg McGuffin. But gods and monsters.
But the auto thing, I mean, you see when he looks in the coffin, it's empty, so no Tolliver body.
Yeah, well, that's... Well, but again, would there be? Because it's... Well,
remember, I mean, his final battle with that other Norman Osborn, didn't he threw like a Tolliver clone body at him, didn't he? Surprise and be like, oh, look, I killed the superior Spider-Man. And he's like, nope.
Yeah, I mean, it's all... oh, man. Wouldn't it be great if Kindred is just Marconi? Because she had those supervillain vibes, and, doesn't she have that, like, super, like, has the device that holds all the power cosmic? Wasn't that, like, one of the dangling threads of the last one, that she has the power cosmic
I mean, unless Kindred's lying to everybody, it seems like Kindred's from hell, so, I mean, Marconi would have had to die, I guess.
Or she just read a book. It's like, this is documented stuff in this universe, That's the thing. It's like, remember when, like, demons invaded New York? That was a thing. It happened. It was like, oh, yeah. And, like, the reporters showed up at Doctor Strange's house, and they're like, okay, well, what happened was there was an incursion. Or they went to Reed Richards' house, and he's like, oh, well, what happened was there was an incursion. And here's the science behind it. What, should I not tell everyone? Was that a secret? I don't know. I'm a scientist. This is knowledge. Have some.
Oh, my.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing for someone of Marconi's level of intellect. Because obviously this was a woman that, Otto Octavius respected. You know that this is a woman of that supervillain level intellect. She maybe doesn't want to be a supervillain because obviously that's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And what's the reward? Sort of like becoming president. It's like, why would you want that job? That's so much paperwork every day. Yeah. And all anyone does is ask, why haven't you fixed everything yet? It's like, no, that's a bad job. Only lunatics want it. But that's why we're on the Capes and Lunatics Network.
That's
anyway.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, who is Kindred? Who is that's the thing. I am not convinced of a true mystical from heck origin for any of this yet.
Well, no matter what, pay it off already. They've been doing Kindred since issue 1. It's issue 67. Pay it off already.
No, because we keep on buying.
Well, that's what me and Lilith were saying. Are they gonna reveal it in like 75? Or are they gonna drag this out to 100? Ugh.
Well, and again, it's like whatever's happening, and and to be fair, obviously that whole pandemic thing screwed everybody up because we've got, we're now getting back to the annuals.
Oh yes.
From where, hey, remember when all of the Infinity Stones decided they were going to merge with human beings, and we did a couple of annuals about it, but we only did like 2?
I don't think it was even annuals. There was like a Wolverine. Remember that? What was that Wolverine and Loki miniseries?
Yeah, because they were also doing the compressed universe. And they did there was a bunch of crossovers. They were a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, because they're compressing everyone into 2 people. And then they compressed the 4 into the duo, and then it just became one guy with all the powers of the 4. That was kind of cool. But that's where we met Star, who has had a very illustrious career with the Reality Stone lately, and Overtime. Who got the Time Stone in the Loki book?
But how much did you?
Here.
Yeah, but how much did you love the beginning of this issue with the tourist moloids?
Tourist moloids, they were great. Although, again, this is like this weird thing about the moloids. They're not usually this active unless they are from the hyper-evolved moloids, which actually suggests there was a subculture of hyper-evolved moloids. For those who don't remember, when we got the talking moloids, the moloids were always meant to be like this semi-sentient group of humanoids that were lost under the earth. But they didn't start having individuation until Evolutionary War, when the first mutant moloid came into being.
Ah.
And then when they had the moloids in the Future Foundation, it was that, these were this special group of moloids from this other group of hyper-evolved moloids that used, some kind of technology that Tyrannus did. But every so often they'd have a throwback moloid, who was a moloid who was born looking like a moloid, but was intelligent. And these seem to be somewhere in the middle. So it's interesting.
Well, the one even says, he's like, past generations, they used to get to invade New York. Now we just sit around and watch TV and they have nothing to do.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem with peace. But they're a much more intelligent moloid group. And they're all individuated, which shows that evolution always finds a way. And that's a fun story. Like I said, the whole assessor storyline.
Yes, I'm so glad. I'm so glad Tony got him because, in Miles' book, they literally tortured poor Miles. So,
but do they get him? They don't get him really.
Well, Tony defeats him. Miles was basically just basically escaped from him.
Yeah, well, we get that he's just an AI in this.
Yeah,
but they actually do what they never do with AI, which is acknowledge that. Yeah, if he's just an AI, he's just an AI. He's just a thing. He's just a bit of programming, and you can reboot the last version, which is, interestingly enough, what we saw with the current Red Skull being rebooted from old tapes of the Red Skull. So Red Skull, who was literally just came back from the 1940s, had no awareness of what he had been doing since then. And is just the Red Skull. So that's interesting. I like the backup story in this, which is obviously going to be what connects us in all of this.
Yeah, I guess we're going to get that Nick Fury backup and all these, yeah.
Yeah, we get Nick Fury Jr., Nick Fury the Second.
Infinite Fury, part 1 of 8.
Yeah, and in this, we also get this very interesting point about how, he doesn't know his dad. Which is an interesting aspect of the new Fury character. And it makes you wonder if they're ever going to talk about this in the MCU. The idea that, there was a Nicholas Fury that this Fury met, but that this Fury was not raised by. Because the first Nick Fury, the first super spy Nick Fury from World War II had to keep that he had this Nick Fury secret.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why he didn't have to keep his other son, his other Nick Fury Jr. son secret, nobody knows. But this one, I guess this was the one he actually cared about. I get, if nothing else, that's like probably the saddest aspect of it. It's like, well, this was the one that he actually cared about, or this was the one that he could hide. The other one he couldn't. Maybe people were aware of what was going on in a certain way, or maybe the mother wasn't going to go along with it. But
oh, I get this now.
Because there's another Nick Fury Jr. in Marvel Comics who got murdered.
Yeah.
Because he was Nick Fury Jr.
Oh, remember on the last show I said, why are we going to wait till the end of July for the next issue of Black Cat? Oh, maybe because we're getting the Black Cat annual also this month. So
yeah, so I guess we'll get that. So there we go. Don't want to give too many Black Cat books in a month. It'll make us lazy, Phil.
Well, annual
anyway,
bigger too, so you're charging more.
Yeah. So quick item I do want to talk about before we get into more comics. Cruella de Vil.
Okay.
I did download Cruella. I watched it with my family. No, I mean, it was great. I loved it. It was $30, which is more than a fair price and a fair value for it. I received that from, I bought that on Disney Plus, and it's a decent film. And like I said, I would have gone and seen it if it was in a theater, but I didn't really want to with my family this weekend. And I was happy to spend the $30 because I would have spent that on popcorn and the tickets for me and my wife and my child. And instead we got to watch it in our hotel room, which was lovely on a nice big screen TV. And it was really, really enjoyable. And I don't know why anyone wants to hate on it. I don't think people really are hating on it. Although I think some people dislike revisiting things. I know there were some people that were very mad because apparently there are gays in it. And it's like, it's a film about a fashion designer, and you did not think there was going to be gays in it. I don't even understand your thought process on that. But I mean, it was beautiful, and it gives a really interesting take on Cruella. And there is an aspect of it where everyone thinks Cruella skinned these dogs because she did wear a Dalmatian pattern in one of her outfits, and she did kidnap some other dogs in this story, as you do. But she didn't. But she was more than happy to let people think that. And it makes one wonder if they are going to write a arc that's going to revisit the 101 Dalmatians idea. If there is this idea that when she becomes a little longer in the tooth, like the Baroness, and the bloom is off her rose, people are like, oh, back when she first showed up, she skinned a dog to make her coat, and that was so avant-garde. But today's Cruella would never do something like that. And you can see how that kind of a thought process and a logic could play out and grow. And it's like, that is what is interesting about these villain origin stories, is when we look at the villain origin and we say, well, how does someone get from someone who's maybe self-serving to being outright villainous? Because we meet bad people every day, and all bad people have the things that they're attached to. And we see in this with Horace and Jasper, her attachment to them and their attachment to her, their found family bond. And it also explains why, certain villains may keep around certain henchmen because they have a bond to them. But we have to get to that next place, and that next place is absolute villainy. And how do we get there? So I find it very fascinating what they did with Cruella. I do recommend this as a film. And I really am kind of interested in Cruella 2, Electric Boogaloo. Well, that's that.
Did they set that up for a sequel? Like,
well,
can you see signs of a sequel or no? Okay.
I'm sorry. No, I don't think they did. I don't think they set it up for a sequel, but I think you could really explore a very interesting sequel going into who Cruella is beyond. And you sort of do this with, and they sort of did this with Maleficent, which did get a sequel. And it is this idea that, she's got to become the villain, but maybe she has a perspective too. And, honestly, there's a very interesting dynamic with her and Horace in this, where, it's sort of the idea of, we don't always get, that. And there was a great line that they gave to Glenn Close's Cruella about how, they call you the villain because you are a woman who deigns to make your own way. And it's such a beautiful line that they gave to a villain that, you kind of want to see that circle squared in it and see a way for Cruella, to come through it. And maybe even with the idea crossing her mind about making a real Dalmatian fur coat, that gets thwarted. She didn't actually do it. Let's remember that. That maybe there's more to the story than we imagine. So, I don't know where it's going, but I'm very excited about where it might be at the end of the story. Anyway, let's see here. Give me a comic you want to talk about, Phil.
Immortal Hulk 47.
Immortal Hulk 47. Yeah, man. Okay, really upsetting. I guess this is a variant cover. Because I was promised a Hulk versus Rhino. I got no Hulk versus Rhino.
That's a variant, yeah, because the main cover was him fighting the Avengers.
Yeah. But it's like, why? I mean, I know that Rhino has fought the Hulk in the past.
Selling variants.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I pick. That's the thing. It's like when you see those kind of variants, who picks up a book because of the variant? I mean, I guess probably there are people, but then it just seems like if you picked up the book because it was a variant cover and you thought Rhino was going to be in it, you would be sorely disappointed. And as with all Hulk stories, I think that we're kind of exhausting it. It's an interesting idea to kind of putting into this, which is sort of this idea that the Hulk puts off rage so that anyone in his circle becomes filled with that negativity, which kind of, I guess, that's why the one below all is all about the Hulk, because he's feeding into that sin of rage. Like I said, it's an interesting idea. I don't know if I like it. And I don't know where you go with it from here.
Well, we only got.
I mean, obviously they're setting up Gamma Flight.
Yeah, and we only got 3 more issues of Immortal Hulk.
And we definitely have this whole bit about Titania not wanting to hang out with She-Hulk. So I guess there's going to be some kind of a growth with that. You get the whole thing in here again about how, the big words. Like, everything is small words for the Hulks because they're trying to get them to their most esoteric and base meanings. That all of the big words do is hide what we really want to say. Which I think it's a neat idea. It's a neat idea. I'm not going to say it's a bad idea. This was probably a better Immortal Hulk book than a couple of the last issues, so I'm hoping we're getting back up on the, it's an interesting story again arc. Because, I mean, for me, Immortal Hulk has been peaks and valleys, where we have some really great storytelling for a while, and then it tells that story, and then it's like, now we're going to just, wander around for a little bit to fill out some stories. So I'm hoping we're going to end on a good note. I don't know how you put any toys back in the box at the end of this.
Yeah, I know.
But maybe they will. Maybe they will. I mean, honestly, if you've already established, no, they're all schizos and they're all crazies. And it's actually, the rage is this other force through the green door, and that is what's affecting the world. making the world more corrupt. Maybe they close the green door with cosmic rays or something, and that's how they solve that problem for now.
But yeah, 50 is Al Ewing's last issue. Did you see what he's doing after that?
No, what's he doing?
Venom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Isn't he like a space god now?
That's what I thought, who knows?
I mean, I'm fine with Venom Space God, sure. Why not? It's not a book I'm going to pick up because there's a lot of other books I'm already buying,
I mean, unless he does what he did for Immortal Hulk, because I remember when I first heard about Immortal Hulk, I'm like, what, he dies and comes back? That's going to be dumb. But no, it's been good, so.
I mean, no, there's a lot of great things to explore with Venom. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, I'm not a Venom fan to start.
Yeah.
I was a Hulk fan from, way back.
Yeah, I'm always hit or miss with Venom, but yeah, for Al, I'll probably give it a shot, at least the first issue or two.
Well, I mean, for me, Venom, like, I only enjoyed Venom when it was Flash Thompson.
Yeah.
So any other Venom, it's like, that's not my Venom.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying my Venom was the right Venom or the real Venom or anything. I'm just saying Flash Thompson is the Venom which is why I don't like the Venom films, because it's obviously made for other Venom fans who were Venom fans at a time before Flash Thompson.
Well, my Venom wasn't a hero. My Venom was original 90s Venom who'd show up every year, like clockwork every year, and just like tell Spider-Man, I'm going to eat your brain.
Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, and that's a Venom, but then again, that's like, what was I going to say?
But it's just like Harley Quinn or Deadpool. I mean, they found the guy who was popular, and they just started printing more and more. They gave him miniseries after miniseries, and they made him a hero. And
yeah, and that's always weird.
Again, with Flash, I can see that, but with Eddie Brock, I'm like, if nothing else, Eddie Brock has deep psychological issues.
Well, Eddie Brock was a guy. Yeah, he was a guy. And I guess maybe the argument is because he's just a guy, he's easily made into an everyman. Like, there's nothing defining about him at the time, except for the fact that he was maybe super roided up and mad at Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
And that goes into that. It's like, maybe if he wasn't so roided up, maybe he wouldn't be so angry all the time.
And he was the one who reported his story wrong. He said the Sin Eater was somebody else, and Spider-Man brings in the real one. He's like, oh, you ruined my career. Well, it's like, well, no one told you to print the wrong name, dummy. Maybe do some legwork.
Yeah, but it wasn't leg day. You don't want
to... But I'm just saying, that
was a weird thing they decided to do with him, too, make him a bodybuilder.
I know.
But again, I can see how maybe that idea of making him a roidy guy was part of the story, And I get the idea of making him the opposite of Peter Parker goes into that idea. Although I liked what they did in Sam Raimi's Venom, where it's like, no, he's just like Parker, but he doesn't have the moral compass. Where he is the anti-Parker, but what makes him the anti-Parker is that he doesn't have the moral compass.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's that. Savage Avengers was interesting.
Yep. Ghost Rider.
You gotta love Conan. He is like, I have fought wizards before. He is not in any way intimidated by mutants, even when they have power. And he is well aware that there is an evil Cullen Goth. And again, this is one of these weird things. It's like, wow, doesn't everyone know Cullen Goth's around? Like, shouldn't that be an all hands on deck kind of situation?
Yeah, seriously.
But it's like, nah, not really. And we get Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider in this. And we actually we do a flashback. Oh, yeah, I met one of you Spirits of Vengeance before. You guys are okay. I got no beef with you. I love my Conan in pants. Although by the end of it, we get another time travel storyline, and he's back in his loincloth. I hope they make some reference like, I kind of preferred the pants.
Huh?
Yes, I have more range of movement with the loincloth, but it was nice not to have my legs always on display,
You think that's time travel, or is that like a hallucination from the penance stare or something?
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I would be very disappointed if this is just how they get Conan back in the past.
Yeah. No,
because I don't want that. I like Conan I like my 21st century Conan.
I was going to say, it's modern comics. If they were going to send them back, they'd do a big mini series if everybody guest starred. Yeah, no, I don't think they're sending them back yet.
Yeah, although, I mean, to be fair, he wants to go back, but it's like not until he's done with Cullen Goth, you know? He doesn't want to grow old knowing that Cullen Goth is eventually going to be in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. Now time for our weekly Heroes Reborn update.
Yeah, well, they're here, man. Yeah. Let's start with chronologically.
Oh, Marvel
Double Action.
Yes. The night the Falcon died.
Yeah, and this is a neat tie-in to what we eventually get with both our American Knights and I've got to say, this is one of the most well-structured crossover events that I think Marvel has ever done. And it really impresses me. And maybe it's because they had that extra time. I mean, that's all I can think is, we had extra time, so we were able to think it out and work it out and plan it out to where we were going. So, I mean, this hits a lot of our great Spider-Man beats, which is interesting because they're kind of doing both Batman and Spider-Man, and interestingly enough, Moon Knight in this. Sorry, Ray. Because we see that when the sun sets, the alchemical blood gives Nighthawk super strength, which the Goblin uses to his advantage.
Although I think some of the other versions of Nighthawk have had that though too, where he gets stronger when the night goes down too. So,
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's possible.
Yeah,
but I think Moon Knight did it first. Then,
probably.
You know, it's like, I mean, Nighthawk's been around for so long. He was just originally supposed to be a Batman pastiche.
Yeah, and
they do well. And we have, of course, Captain Stacy in this, and we see. It was interesting because you almost felt like Gwen and Sam were a couple in this, but I guess I don't even know if Gwen is supposed to be with Harry, but I guess everyone just knows Harry. So it's interesting, the relationships, because they don't really give us anything on this.
Yeah, it was just.
This is weird. Because apparently Nick Fury is president in this universe, but his face is on the $10 bill. So that's weird.
No, isn't Coulson president?
No, didn't they make a reference to? No, in this one they make a reference to
this
President
is in the past.
Fury.
Yeah.
So in this one, Fury's president. So him being on a $10 bill seems weird to me. If he's actively the president and his face is on the $10 bill. That's fascism, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Because no president in recent history would have put his face on the $10 bill if he could have.
I mean, if they could have, yeah, but, that is why we have a bureaucracy, Philip. Bureaucracy is the last defense against tyranny.
Hey, Fury's a good old Mephisto-fearing religious man.
Yeah. And that is I was hoping for a little something in this, and man, I know I need to read these letter pages. Because I know there is some secret Easter egg in there. I got a wife, I got a kid, I got stuff I got to do. I can't read all that tiny type.
I mean, we even got a Tigra cameo.
Oh, man, which I love. I love how they made her both Cheetah and Catwoman in this. It's like, that is beautiful. That's a beautiful way to thread the needle on that. And it works. Say what you will, it works. You want to talk about American Knights?
Yeah.
Which is our Marvel Knights story, but it's American.
Yep. Commissioner.
Because what's more America than Mephisto?
And Commissioner Cage.
You get the feeling that maybe comics are a little political here, Phil.
Never!
Yeah, the Saint. Matt Murdock, the Saint. Oh. And I'm loving this because they keep on using this phrase "saint" and "sinner," and there's a part of me that it's like, wait, which is the good one? You know, it's like the way they use it. It's like, oh man, it's just all saints and sinners out there. It's like, wait, what are the good ones? Because we're worshiping Mephisto, and even when we get to that point at the end, it's not an S. It's the serpent that Mephisto used when he wanted to experience the world, and it's interesting. But yeah, it's interesting how they've reimagined these characters.
Yeah, because the double action, like you said, Nighthawk was like Spider-Man and Batman. This is like pure Batman here.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting in this is that Luke Cage, he's got Luke Cage's origin, but he has no powers. But there's this idea, and this is what I find fascinating about the Nighthawk character, because he's clearly a character who is the world's greatest detective. Mm-hmm. So he's coming to understand something's wrong. And they made the point in last episode that in this universe there was a civil war between Hyperion and Nighthawk. Mm-hmm. So that civil war occurred, and all these things occurred. And how they are informing who this character of Nighthawk is interesting. And I get the feeling that we're going to get our Nighthawk at the end of this coming through being the one who finds Mephisto's plan, and is going to be the one who maybe seemingly sacrifices himself, but then comes back at the end. No Tilda Johnson yet, so that's interesting. Although, yeah, I mean, there's so many weird things about this. And as I always say, it's like, man, I always love when Marvel writes DC books because they're so good at it. I'll throw the shade, Phil. Do you have anything you want to say about Marvel American Knights before we move on to the next piece?
No, it's just really good. Yeah, let's get to Heroes.
I mean, it's great. I mean, these are all good books, I still got War of the Bounty Hunters left.
But no, number 5, Heroes Reborn 5.
Heroes Reborn 5. And this is our Nighthawk-centric episode. And we get, who is, I Am Become the Night. Who is this again?
Who?
Oh, this is Kraven. This is the Long Hunt, or the Last Hunt.
Kraven's Last Hunt, yeah.
Kraven's Last Hunt. Because we saw in the previous episode him fighting Kraven. And now we get Arkham Asylum. He's got to go in, and we get our second. We also get, again, it's an interesting thing, him using the LMD.
Yep.
And I wonder if that's going to come into it. And again, it's this idea about, here's the thing about writers. They don't care if, Kevin Feige doesn't want something to be canon.
Yeah. They're
going to see something like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. saying, LMDs came to existence because some idiot scientist opened the Darkhold. Mm-hmm. And they go, wow, that's a neat idea. Because it is kind of weird that LMDs exist, and they're such really amazing AI, almost as if they had souls. And what if that was a thing? What if someone actually was, using mysticism to make better AIs? And if nothing else, you can even go back to already established canon, both in Nick Fury versus S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Max Fury storyline, of LMDs that become self-aware. There is so much going on there. And then the fact that Jim Hammond, in fact, canonically has a soul and dreams, because that's how you know if you have a soul, if you dream. Mm. We also get a flashback to when Nighthawk had the Venom symbiote, when he was dating Black Cat. And we see that came to, of course, a Johann Schmidt character, but of course, the Venom Venom really likes Nighthawk better, and in this one, Venom is much more active and sentient.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, come on. It's like, come on, you knew come on, Johan, there's room for both of us. We can do a three-way. Otto in this one just has octopi. Deadpool again comes back, and in this one, we see that Gwen Stacy eventually becomes a Batgirl kind of character, but also becomes a psychiatrist, but likewise is kind of a Harley Quinn, but also because she is aware in a way, she does kill the Goblin. I mean, honestly, there is just so much in this book. I'm going to say this. It is so much better than the... I won't say it's better because obviously that served its purpose too. The Dr. Spectrum book served its purpose too. But this is one where you go, oh, this book was important. And we meet Ronan in this, which we realize is T'Challa. Mm-hmm. And we see that Cap and Bane and Echo are recruiting him. So...
But I love the Norman moment after he beats Norman and he says, you hear so many, weird things, in the cell next to the Silver Witch. He's like, don't let them change the world back, Nighthawk.
I like it better this way. Yeah, I love that. Which is, again, that kind of thing that's going to grate at a guy like Nighthawk. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we get some David F. Walker Nighthawk back out of this deal, this would have been a trip well worth the journey. David F. Walker, best writer for Nighthawk ever.
Oh, yes. And
I still want my Deadly Nighthawk, where Tilda Johnson is in the Nighthawk suit. Okay, my last book, if you have another one, you can talk about it after this one. We're going to talk about War of the Bounty Hunters. Issue 1, because the first one was a 0 issue and just a prelude. And apparently, so long story short, and it's weird how this whole thing plays out, because you have the Crimson Dawn return, and they have stolen Han Solo. And we get later that it's because Han Solo is kind of a hub character. It's like, the gangsters know him, the Rebel Alliance knows him, the Empire knows him, and like the one person who can bring all of these factions in the galaxy together is this one idiot smuggler, because he has been around everywhere, which kind of goes into a guy like Boba Fett, who is also kind of a ne'er-do-well bounty hunter, but apparently what has happened is Jabba has put out a hit on Boba Fett, just for the lulz. And so all these schmendricks are trying to kill Boba Fett. He's like, I am the world's greatest bounty hunter, right? You know that you're embarrassing yourself, but more importantly, you're embarrassing me. We get the Bughead protocol droid, who was very cool in this. I do like him. His head gets thrown into a sand dune on Tatooine, unfortunately, when Boba comes to figure out what the heck is going on, goes and talks to Bib Fortuna, and it's like, why does Jabba have a bounty on me? It's like, well, he figured you sold Solo to this other person. It's like, first off, no. And second off, call it off. I got work to do. Because now he knows who has it. And as it turns out, the person who has it, I believe, they call her Lady Kira. And I think that's the chick from Solo, the Star Wars story. Because she makes the point, yeah, you always wanted to save me. Now I get to save you or something. I don't know. But yeah, there's our smug little bounty hunter. He's the one person connected to everybody in the galaxy. Oy vey. I enjoy War of the Bounty Hunters. Again, this was an info dump issue. I am looking forward to them getting back to blowing stuff up. There's a whole thing in there where there's a group of people who can see the future, and this bounty hunter who can see the future. I will tell you your future. I see a sea of red, drowning in a sea of red. It's like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. Mm. And it's a fun bit, but all in all, it's a good book. If you like Star Wars, if you like that middle series Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back and that, it might be a fun read for you. I certainly am enjoying it, and I think even Tristan likes it. All right, right, Phil, anything else you want to talk about this week?
Nope, I think we're good.
Well, that's good. So, Phil, we don't have as many sponsors as we once did, but we still have a certain book called Pod Life, the book written by and from the Southgate Media Group family. It's for us in the Southgate Media Group, but if you were listening to the show, you are part of the Southgate Media Group, too. You are part of our family, and you should pick up Pod Life, the book, find out what we are talking about, why we are talking about it, and what it means to be a podcaster. If you go down to our show notes, click on the Amazon link, that's going to take you right to Amazon.com, where, quite frankly, you can buy anything you want in the universe. And while there, you can look at Pod Life, the book. You can get it in both a solid hard copy that will survive the apocalypse, or a digital copy that may or may not survive the apocalypse. That's up to you. Choose wisely. I say buy both and be doubly sure.
True.
And if you do that and you want to talk to any of us, Phil, how can they reach out to you? How can they help us? How can they give us money through Patreon?
Well, the best way to get a hold of us is capesandlunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And you can find links to our Patreon, our YouTube channel. Yes, you can watch all our shows. There's video for all of them. YouTube, Patreon, again, everything, all the social medias at Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics.
Very good. And of course, you can always write to me the old-fashioned email way, where Maz and Paz once did. At superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. Listen to me and Maz Manzoor on Full Stream Ahead and the Enough Said feed on both Capes and Lunatics and Southgate.
Oh.
We will be starting up...
Loki starts this coming week.
Loki starts next week, so we will be re-upping the Enough Said feed. The Full Stream Ahead feed, it always goes, because it's always Full Stream Ahead. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter as I live tweet things like Legends of Tomorrow, when it has a new episode, like Stargirl, when it comes back, like Loki, because Disney has said we would like us all to tweet at this time, and so maybe I will tweet at that time. I don't know yet. I'm not saying for sure, but Disney has decreed, since there are groups already doing live tweets of their shows, they said, well, we should put advertising in that spot too. Smart. Mm-hmm. But you can follow me when I do that stuff at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the two E's in the middle. For what?
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz, and thank you, Tristan. No, it's okay. We have Maz on record. He does it always, so. Ladies and gentlemen, you have connected with us once again this week. I do appreciate it. And if you do not identify as either a lady or a gentleman, I still appreciate you listening. This world is big enough for all of us. Tune in again next week as we once again try to connect things superbly on Superconnectivity.
Thank you, human beings.
Thank you, human and non-human beings. Enough said.
Yes, if you're listening to this on the podcast, it'll be Wednesday. Loki's out now. Go watch it.
Excelsior!